Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. It's Oktoberfest, and today's episode, we will be bringing you some of the beers related to the festival. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello.
And we are two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Hey, so we're in a festive mood today because we're doing Oktoberfest. Yay. And as well, in our festive mood, we officially launched the podcast on Friday the 2nd of October.
Yay.
Yeah, we are official. We are on all of the podcasting platforms. We're on YouTube. Come and watch us and listen to us everywhere that you can. Come and follow us. And
ask Alexa to play us.
Yeah, ask Alexa to play us. Oh no, she's going to talk now.
Oh no.
No, it's all right. She hasn't. She didn't hear me. And so far, we have received some really lovely feedback. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Beers in Yorkshire from Instagram said it was nice to hear women chat about beer. And now she knows some breweries with women as head brewers, and she's going to consciously seek them out. We are changing the world.
It was she sent us a really sweet message about it. It was really good. So thank you for that. It was really appreciated.
Thank you, Josie. That was lovely. Simon from Craft Beer UK said we had a good flow and that he learned something from the episodes. Thank you, Simon, and thank you for your support in the Craft Beer UK Facebook group. We'll give a little shout out because that's where Tori and I met. So if you like craft beer and you're into your Facebook groups, come and join us all there. It's a really lovely group.
He's pinned our post. He's so sweet. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you very much, Simon. And Carrie Oakley has been listening to us in the US, and she said it's an amazing listen because we make the conversation easy and you want to be a part of it. So thanks, Carrie. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. That's so it's so flattering because I haven't even seen that last one, and that's just really, that's really sweet. Thank you, guys. I know that when I started doing this with you, it was I just putting it out there. I'm I'm so nervous. What if everyone just hates me? I don't know, awkward and everything. And then I got all this really nice feedback. I was it's so nice. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. It really does mean a lot to us.
Yeah, it does. We thought we were going to get five listeners, and so far we've got 69 listeners. Thank you, 69 listeners.
Thank you, 69 listeners. And thank you, Taiwan.
Yes, we are big in Taiwan. 7 listeners in Taiwan. That was where people first started listening to us.
Shout out to you, Taiwan.
Whoop, whoop. Right, so what are we talking about today? Tori, let's get into these beers.
Yeah, so today, as you mentioned at the start, we're going to be doing an Oktoberfest. Oh, Prost.
Prost.
I feel like I need to say at the start that caveat, I'm probably going to butcher all these names because I do not speak German. My German's not very good.
No, I did French.
But I didn't really do. I tried a lot of languages and German wasn't one of them. So today what we're doing is we're going to be comparing the traditional German beers that you get at Oktoberfest with the craft ones that you get here in the UK, and we're going to kind of see what's the difference between them. How does the craft beer in the UK compare to the traditionals? We've got 2 durations. We've got doses, which are Pilsner, and we've got the harvest beer, which is a Marzen. So we've got
Marzen is my favourite style. When I saw they were making a Marzen, I was like, I am buying that. I was totally on it straight away. I was like, I was just like, go buy this beer. It's going to be amazing. I know it is.
Yeah, and then our last craft one, which I was really excited about.
You're
is
so
Deya.
Excited about this one.
Yeah, it's Deya. Guten Morgen, pet. I really like Deya. I'm a massive Deya fan. And so when we were trying to find a Hefeweisen, because I absolutely love them, that one came up and I was like, yes, no option, especially because it's so different than their normal style that I was like, have to try it just to see how they pull off one of those, because they usually do hoppy juice bombs, and that was so different. So we've got those 3 crafts, and then for the traditionals, you have to correct me because I'm not going to get this right at all. So for the Pilsner, it's Flensburger?
I believe so.
Is that right?
Flensburger, that's how I would pronounce it.
Yeah.
I didn't do German either. I just went on YouTube and played all the names for the brewery so I could say it.
You prepped a lot more than I did for that then, because I just thought, it's fine, I'll just wing it. So you've got Paulaner?
Paulaner.
Right, for the Oktoberfest beer.
That's a fest beer, not a Marzen. So we'll talk about the differences.
You're going to have to tell us the difference.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And then we've got, this is the one that's really tough. How do you say this one?
Erdinger. That's the easiest one.
I thought it was going to be like a trick question where it looks easy. Yeah. No. So that's the wit beer.
Yes. But no, the Weiss beer.
A Weiss beer.
Wit beer's Belgian.
Sorry. Yeah. I was looking at the one that I pulled, which was the wrong one. So yeah, before we started recording, I had put the wrong beer in the fridge. It was a wit beer, and it was not a German beer.
No.
But we've rectified it and we've moved on.
Yes.
So do you want to give us a bit of a brief history about Oktoberfest? I mean, I don't know. What I know about it is all the basics that I think everyone else knows, which is like you drink out of a stein, everyone's like rowdy and cheersing and everything else, and drinking lots of beer, getting drunk and eating sausages. That's what I know about it. Why don't you tell us what the facts are?
So most people think of Oktoberfest as a big beer festival in Munich in Germany. So in October 1810, so on the 12th of October, in fact, 1810, Prince Ludwig married Princess Therese. I don't know if I pronounce it. It might be Therese. I think it's Therese. Their wedding celebration eventually became what we know as the Oktoberfest celebration today, because it was a celebration that went on for several days. And so they just carried on doing it every year, and it became this massive festival. In 1841, Marzen, the beer style, was introduced to Oktoberfest by Gabriel Sedelmeier, who owned Spartan Brewery. When they first started making Marzen, it predated kilning techniques. So most of the beers were brown because the malts that they used were roasted on an open fire. So they would have been a lot darker than we expect beers to be nowadays. And Marzen means March. So the beer was brewed in March to be drunk in the autumn. And that was because at the time it needed to be lagered for that length of time because they didn't have temperature control. And so to lager is to store, and they would store their beers in cold caves and let them age. And the type of yeast that is in a lager beer is a bottom fermenting yeast. So it needs a cooler temperature to ferment properly. So it needs that cold weather at the beginning of the year, and then the Marzen style takes a long time to lager, and so they store it, and then you drink it in October.
This is it's going to sound like a really dim question, but I don't know if anybody else is thinking of this. Given that it's taken longer to sit, is that result in a higher ABV, or is that does that not really have an impact? It just is the finalizing of the
so brew? The ABV is the factors that determine your ABV is how much malt, so how much sugar is in your wort. So that sugar comes from the grain that you put in. So it's really determined by how much grain is put in to it in the first place. So you can store it, like you can leave it to ferment for a really long time, but if you've not got the amount of sugar in it for the yeast to eat and produce the alcohol, you're not going to, like, just leaving it for a really long time isn't going to make the alcohol level any higher. It's the amount of malt that you put in the first place. And a lot of the ABVs that we see nowadays have been impacted by taxing, the availability of ingredients. So like a lot of beers, like a lot of British beers, just going away from Germany, their ABVs are lower now because they got taxed more based on the original gravity. So you measure how much sugar is in your wort when it goes into the fermenter. And so they would lower that measurement. They would try and make that measurement lower so they didn't get taxed as much. And also just because during the war times, ingredients weren't available. So the ABV went down because there wasn't as much malt in it. And then they just kind of stayed at that level.
That's it. That's what I'm here to ask these questions. So you can give those answers, because I feel like I've just learned a lot. Yeah. I've learned a lot, and we're like not even 20 whole minutes in, so. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, cool.
So we're going to start with a Pilsner. We're not even going to start with a beer that's traditionally from Oktoberfest, but it's a German beer. And we're starting with this because really I wanted to try doses from Duration.
And to be fair, I feel like we picked this one because we both really
liked the little bottle. I just really like the bottle. Oh, well, I'm going to have to peel the label off. I
almost don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to wreck it.
I'm a savage. I'm just going in. It seems quite difficult. I like the top detail on it. For anyone that's watching on there's like a nice little detail at the top.
Got the brewery logo on top of it. There we go. Look, I've got
it's like a little boat, a little sailboat.
Right. Now these flip tops. This is what I use for my homebrew, is a flip top. But sometimes they can.
Is it going to be lively?
Yeah, it might be.
Should have prepared and worn a bib. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you just heard that, but that probably went off. It smells really nice.
Cool. See, now I don't normally like a German Pilsner because I find them too bitter.
It smells like holiday to me, if I'm honest. Like it smells like I'm going on holiday.
Look at that beaut. It is beautifully clear yellow.
Yes.
And it's got a creamy white head on it. Oh, it's lovely. Look at all those lovely medium-sized carbonation bubbles.
I remember when you taught me about the carbonation bubbles, and now every time I look at beer, I'm like, look at the carbonation bubbles. They are exactly this size.
Yeah, they're streaming nicely up to the top of the beer. Yeah. It's got that Pilsner malt aroma.
Yeah. I said it smells like holiday. It smells like I've gone on holiday to Europe.
That's really nice.
I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, it's very mild, bitter.
It's not as bitter as I expected it to be.
I think it's very mild. It's the necessary amount of bitter, I think.
Yes.
It's very like the crispness. I'd use the word sharp. It almost makes it a bit sharp when you first drink it because it's so crisp, but it's very refreshing.
So a lager yeast is different from an ale yeast, and a lager yeast will give you a clean flavour. So it doesn't really add any extra flavour to the beer, whereas an ale yeast can give you like fruitiness, spiciness, things like that. Whereas a lager yeast is very clean. So you don't get a yeast profile from it, which gives you that nice cleanness. So you're getting the crisp malts. So it'll be a nice Pilsner malt, which is quite a light roast. It's not really roasted or but there's no real colour added to it. It is the lightest of malts, a Pilsner malt. And I get a very slight spiciness in the hops. And that's German hops are slightly spicy and floral.
Yeah, it's I get the maltiness quite strong in the smell. And it's really what is it? I guess, is that all traditionally what this specific style is meant to be then?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It is I'd say it hits the mark on that.
Yeah. And this is a German Pilsner. A Czech Pilsner can be slightly different because they tend to be a little bit more malty. So usually I prefer a Czech Pilsner because it's just got a little bit, just that touch of toast.
How many different Pilsners are there? Because obviously we're going to talk about the Duration one. which is sort of, I won't get into that yet, but I mean, does every country kind of have its own Pilsner, or is it more you're going to find this style or that style?
So a German Pilsner and a Czech Pilsner are your traditional ones. Other countries can make, so nowadays you'll get New Zealand Pilsners because they use a New Zealand hop in it.
So is that what makes it sort of the New Zealand, is the hop that they use will be that?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I do really like this one. This is quite good. It's
like
something that, like I said, it tastes like holiday. It tastes like I should be sitting in a garden somewhere in mainland Europe, and I feel like it should be sunny out and not. It's really gross and rainy here at the time.
It's horrid today,
and I feel like I should be in the sun. I feel like I should be in the sun in a beer garden somewhere in Europe, just drinking it.
Yeah, eating some pretzels.
I've got my pretzels.
Yeah.
I was gonna make pretzels for everyone that's listening. I was like, I'll just make some quick and easy pretzels. And then work this week has been mental. And I thought I could go to the shop, or I could just use my Costco peanut butter pretzels. And if you've never got Costco peanut butter pretzels, they are amazing if you like peanut butter. But I can't find them, so I have to ration them. So I've only given myself this very tiny bowl.
I don't even know where a Costco is down this end. I don't think I've ever shopped in one.
Missing out, mate.
Well,
missing out.
Quite possibly. We don't have a Costco in Kent, I don't think. Not that I know of. Email us at lovebeerlearning@gmail.com if I'm wrong.
Do you have a Costco in Kent?
Tell me where Costco is so I can go buy peanut butter pretzels,
Somebody send Joanne a Google Maps pinpoint of where her nearest Costco is.
Your closest Costco is. It's going to be like IKEA, isn't it? I'm going to have to go like over the bridge past Essex.
Or you just tell us where we can get peanut butter pretzels outside of Costco, and I mean I'm on board. I'm happy. I'm with it.
I'm a big fan of the pretzel sticks at Marks and Spencer's.
Oh, I've not had those.
But I also just make my own soft pretzels. Oh, I made some the other week because we had the Hubs and I had a Oktoberfest.
You did, didn't you?
At home. We did it early because we had a bit of time off, and we weren't able to we were going to go to Bristol Craft Beer Festival and we just couldn't make it happen. So we got in some German beers and we had Oktoberfest in our living room. It's lovely. But I made soft pretzels and I filmed some bits. So I'm going to make a reel and put it on the Love Beer Learning Instagram.
Brilliant. We can all check it out.
Yeah, of how to make soft pretzels. So you can see
how done a tutorial for us today.
That made the episode way too long.
But on the subject of food, I guess, the traditional Oktoberfest food you're going to find is, I think, everything that we kind of expect, which is sausages, pretzels, sauerkraut. I'm not going to try to say all the proper ways to say it in German because I tried earlier today and I wasn't loving what I was hearing and I didn't want to come off as to being uneducated. So we're going to stick with that. Outside of those ones that we all, I think, probably know about as a stereotype of Oktoberfest food, you also get stuff like potato pancakes, grilled fish on a stick, something called cheese noodles, which I'm on board. I like cheese, I like noodles, I go with that. And then you've got potato or flour dumplings. And I thought those were, you've got other stuff like hog roast and chicken and stuff, but I think those to me seemed like the stuff that I wouldn't necessarily see or hear and think Oktoberfest. So I like potatoes, I like dumplings, I'm living for it, so I'm more than willing to try it.
All the carbs and all the cheese.
yes, love it. Carbs on carbs, please. Yes,
please. Are you ready to open doses?
Yes.
I've heard really good things about this.
Mine's partially warm, guys, because I'm stupid.
She put the wrong one in the fridge.
I did. I've left myself a bit as well of the original because I thought, kind of when we try it, it'll be nice to have something to go back to. So this one's not as lively, I'll admit, as the bottle. I've just
more lemony
this
yellow.
It's a lighter. Yeah, that one was light, and this is like
hazed as well.
I was going to say there's a bit of haziness to it. The head on it for me is a bit different, but I think I butchered the pour.
No, I've got a big head on mine as well. It's lemony.
It is. It's not as malty at all. I don't get like maltiness. I get it almost smells a bit hoppier, and
it's got a real citrus kick to it. Yeah, let's have a read of what it says on the label. Right, so need a simple beer for straight up refreshment. This classic German Pilsner is invigorating, deliciously dry and floral. Clean and crisp with an accentuated German hop. Doses is a bigger follow-up to small doses are little pills. Sometimes you just need the world set to an uncomplicated dosage you can handle. It's very different from the traditional one, isn't it?
I was going to say there's almost kind of towards the back of the taste, almost like a little bit of creaminess to it that I'm getting.
Yeah. It's got wheat in it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so the grist is Pilsner, wheat and chit. And the hops are Hallertau, Mittelfrau, Saphir and Sars.
I would say it's smoother, and I would say it doesn't have that same crispness of the carbonation that I think the traditional one had.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, how they say it's, the classic German Pilsner. I wouldn't call that. If this is our classic German Pilsner, I wouldn't call this a classic German Pilsner. Saying that, I'm not taken away at all from the fact that it is tasty.
It's delicious.
But if you were like, I've got a hankering for German Pilsner, not what I'd necessarily go to, because it just doesn't.
It's more lemony, it's more citrusy. It's lovely.
Lovely, absolutely lovely.
But it's not exactly, yeah. I understand why everybody said that this was really good now. I mean,
I would say that the classic one's sharper, and this one is a bit smoother.
This one's not as spicy.
Yeah.
It's more floral and perfumey. So the German noble hops. So Sars is a German noble hop, and Hallertau is a German noble hop. So they have that herbally, slightly spicy, perfumey, floral notes to them. That's what they're known for. So I'm really getting the perfumey and floral in this one, whereas I got the spicy in the other one.
And I would say this one probably,
Very
say has
perfumey.
A bit more bitterness than I think the original one did. And I don't know if maybe it's a temperature thing on mine that I'd notice it a bit more. There's
a bitter end to it. Like
the finish on it is the lingering taste of it is a bit more bitter lingering on than maybe on that one. Yeah.
Both delicious in their own ways.
Both very good. Like, I would like again, I think it would be really good for a nice sunny day, not a crappy rainy day.
Yeah, definitely.
In the UK,
in the garden. In the beer garden.
In the beer garden in the sun, not in the rain.
No.
It's very, very nice. Very nice.
I like it. That's nice.
Do you want to hit me with a beer fact really quick? We've prepared some beer facts, and we've not shown each other these beer facts. Well, I think this first time we're going to do something about food and drink related ones, if you've got those.
So shall I do which breweries? I'll tell you which breweries you will find at Oktoberfest. So there are only 6 major breweries that are allowed at Oktoberfest, and they each have a tent. And they are, right, here we go. This is where we butcher the German. Apologies in advance. So the 6 breweries are Hacker Pschorr, Lauen Brauerei, Spaten, Hof Brauereihaus, Augustina, and Paulaner. There we go, Paulaner. Those are the 6
I said it wrong the first time.
Oh my God, yeah. There we go. If you said those wrong, apologies.
Augustina, I feel like that one's probably
that's easy. Yeah, that one's the easy one.
But so just for the listeners' benefit, we didn't show each other either of these facts. We thought we'll just try to hit each other with some facts. That's good, because I knew that there was those tents, but I didn't realize that's what they were named after. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so that's the main breweries that provide all the beer for, and they're the ones that are allowed to be in the main bit, because they're the breweries that create Oktoberfest.
So I actually was going to do one that was about the qualifications of what it takes to be in Oktoberfest. I guess it's not about the brewery, so I can still do that one.
Yeah.
So my fact is that to be considered for Oktoberfest, you'll probably know this, but maybe some other people don't. To be considered for Oktoberfest, it needs to be brewed within the Munich city limits, or else you can't even be considered for it. It has to be Munich based, Munich brewed, all that. And according to the Bavarian purity requirements, you can only have 3 ingredients in the brewing process. Do you know what the 3 ingredients are? I bet you do.
Yeah. Hops, malt and yeast.
No.
What? That's the Reinheitsgebot.
Well, what it's listed here is water, barley and hops.
Oh, yeah. Malt, barley.
Well,
hops.
But you say
no,
water. No yeast is listed.
You have to have yeast. Otherwise, how is it?
I'm going based on Google, so you're probably more right. But apparently,
you've got to have yeast. Are they not including yeast? All right, so maybe they're not including yeast as an ingredient because they didn't realise what yeast was.
No, maybe that's what. Okay,
they used to have used to have the brewing spoon, and so they would always stir with the brewing spoon because they didn't know what the organism of yeast was at first, and they just knew that this spoon started off the fermentation because it was a wooden spoon. Usually it was wooden, and so the microorganisms were in the spoon because they didn't clean it. And they were just like this spoon starts the process.
That's what you do.
Yeah, and that's
maybe that is because they didn't know the purity requirements, which is however old it is.
So literally, it's the Reinheitsgebot is the law that you could only have water, yeast, like whatever ferments it, hops and barley was all you're allowed in it. So actually the wheat beers weren't really allowed because the wheat was supposed to be being saved to be eaten.
Interesting.
But I think
I'm glad I picked that one because then I got to load of them. That's really great. But again, I'm going to caveat that all the facts that I got, I'm relying on Google and my Googling skills. So if I've got any of them wrong, please write a complaint email to Google and tell them how horribly wrong that Google is. Yeah. But let me tell you the other one that I got just because it's food based. I thought it was quite interesting. Again, according to Google, so write into Google if it's not correct and you're not happy with it. There's around 140 restaurant and food stalls within the different tents. And apparently, if you want to open up a food stall, you could be on a waiting list for up to 20 years.
Wow.
Can you imagine? You're like, oh, just wait. It's fine.
I'll just wait 20 years. It's fine.
I'm on the list. It's all right.
I'll just keep R&D my recipes. Get them perfect for 20 years.
By the time I get there, they are going to be so on point.
Going to be pucker.
Yeah, so those are my facts. I was only supposed to do one, but the one about waiting 20 years, I was brilliant. I can't hold that one. That one's good.
That's brilliant. And so the thing, I discovered this recently as well, because I found so you buy an Oktoberfest beer, it's called, Oktoberfest. And I have found that, sometimes they're darker, sometimes they're lighter. I tend to prefer the dark ones, the light ones. And I've always been like, but why is there such a difference between Oktoberfest beer? And it's because it's actually 2 different styles that come under the label Oktoberfest. So they are the Marzen and the Fest beer. So what we've got for our next one, so our traditional is the Paulaner Oktoberfest, but it's a Weiss beer. So this is Oktoberfest beer. That's a Weiss beer. And then we've got for our craft one, we've got the Marzen from Duration. So you will see the difference because they are two different styles. And the Fest beer was originally introduced at Oktoberfest in 1900, and it was because paler lager beers were becoming popular, and so the darker Marzen wasn't as popular. So they introduced the Fest beer, which is a lighter beer, to go with that popularity, basically.
You've got your Sam Adams glass, and I've got to say, I miss my Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
But Oktoberfest is a Marzen. And that's why I love it. I haven't got any in here. I've just got water.
We are unable to get Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
I used to be able to get a case of it.
Well, if I was going back to the US at Christmas like I was supposed to, which I don't know if that's going to happen, thanks coronavirus, I'd be able to say to my sister, can you just get a whole crate of Oktoberfest, please, and just keep some to the side? But unfortunately, I don't want to ask her to do that because...
in case you don't get that.
Yeah, exactly. And then
waste.
she'll drink it all and then I'll be like jealous or get drink envy. So
I remember the first time I properly celebrated Thanksgiving in America, like actually on American soil, was one of my last cruise ship contracts, and we had Thanksgiving at one of our houses, and we did all the bits. I made what did I make? Pumpkin brownies, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I made some good stuff. I made pudding, and sat there having a few beers, and we ran out, and one of the guys was like, I'm going to drive to the... one of them hadn't been drinking. Like, I'm going to try just preface that because I'm saying we're drinking, but he was like, oh, he wanted to get some cigarettes, so we were like, oh, we'll come with you. We'll go to the gas station. Went to the gas station. I was just perusing around while he was paying for the petrol. And I was like walking past the fridges, and there was right in the back was a 6-pack of Oktoberfest. And I was like, open the door.
Yes.
Get right in there. And I'm like, this must be like the last pack of Oktoberfest anywhere, because it's like the end of November. And I'm like, I'm taking
that's it. That's how you know. That's how you know that in New England, anyways. Yeah. That's how you know that fall. I'm going to call it fall because I don't care. I'm a rebel. That's how you know fall is a coming, is when you start seeing Oktoberfest beers by Sam Adams, and it's like, oh, it's fall time.
Yeah.
Yay.
That and pumpkin beers.
Yeah, that and pumpkin beers. Shipwrecked pumpkin, I think is what it's called technically. It's shipyard, but I think it's called shipwrecked pumpkin. Right. I think. Or smashed pumpkin, one of the two. You get some really good pumpkin beers, and then you're like, yes, it's pumpkin spice season. Yay.
That's a whole other episode there.
Yeah, whole other episode. Save that. Yeah. We're opening now.
Right, we're going to open the Vesper by Paulina.
Such like a big bottle.
I know, they're massive.
It makes you feel like you're drinking like a
it's got a
big beer.
It's got to fit in a litre stein.
Yeah, it does.
And bearing in mind, like there's the bottle. This one's a half litre, so double this. Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
This is only half a litre in here. Normally you get 2 of these.
That's mental.
Right, so Fest beer. It's it's clear gold, lots of streaming bubbles, a bubbling head.
Clear. Very clear. It's got like a very grainy smell to me. So it's got a sweetness to it as well. Yep.
Right, shall I read you the official description of a Fest beer from the BJCP, which is the Beer Judge Certification Program, which is what America uses as their standard for each beer style. It should be a smooth, clean, pale German lager with a moderately strong malty flavour and a light hop character that encourages another drink.
I would not disagree with that, actually. Taking a sip of it as you were reading it, I would say, to me, in my taste buds, that's quite spot on.
Yeah. Malty.
Quite spot on with what you said. Yeah.
Pilsner malt, the lighter malts. Less of the toasty and more kind of cereally grainy.
I would say this one doesn't smell like I'm on holiday, but it tastes like I'm on holiday. Whereas the other one smelled and tastes. This one just tastes like I'm on holiday.
It's got a very light floral hop.
Yeah.
Fizzy.
It's got that again. It's got that carbonation to it. That's very crisp. It's nice. I do see like what it's saying, encouraging you to Well, like, I could see how you just easily like
knock that
have
back.
some conversation. You're just like
a few pretzels, few peanut butter pretzels, and one of these. That litre stein would be empty in no minute. It's slightly fizzier than the Pilsner as well.
I had a pretzel, so I had to go on mute so that you wouldn't hear me chomping.
It's nice. It's clean. Easy drinking.
Definitely easy drinking. Goes really well with the peanut butter pretzels.
There you go.
Really well.
Beer and food pairing, everybody. Added to the podcast.
Costco peanut butter pretzels. If you can find them. I went to Costco last weekend. I couldn't find them. If you can find them, give me an Instagram DM. Tell me which Costco you're at that still has peanut butter pretzels, and I will be there, because that is a great food and beer pairing.
Love it. I'm moving on to the Marzen because I'm well excited about it.
You've been waiting. Like, I'm waiting for the day. You're like, can we get to
can we get to the Marzen, please? Marzen is one of my favourite beer styles. Like, I don't think I've ever had a Marzen that I didn't like. Ever. Love a Marzen. Right, so the BJCP description of a Marzen is an elegant malty German amber lager with a clean, rich, toasty and bready malt flavour, restrained bitterness and a dry finish that encourages another drink. So this one's going to be darker in colour, and it's going to be toasty and bready rather than that kind of grainy cereal. It's
still very clear, but it's definitely edging towards the amber colour for sure, but it's still very clear. It's got those tiny little carbonation bubbles. The head on it was very lively. Yeah, it's a big head. Yeah. Big fizzy head. It is. It's a lovely colour. And it doesn't have that same very strong like grains that the other one had. It is definitely a bit more bread crust. Bready. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. That is really nice. I could see this is definitely a autumn beer. Yeah. It's toasty. Definitely like, weather's getting cooler, get your jumper on. Have some of these by the fire. This is like a fire pit beer. Yeah. I've just got a fire pit. It's a fire pit beer. It's still light. Yeah. It's got a good amount of carbonation, but it's toasty. And so it's that having a bit of toast. On a rainy day. That's why I like it though, is that the fact that it's light, because what I find is when you get these beers that they're obviously light in colour, but they're very like heavy. Yeah. I find that's why it doesn't encourage me to want to keep having multiple of them. Like, I feel full and a bit bloaty and just, it's so light that you want to keep drinking it. You've got space to keep drinking it. Yeah. But it has that warmth that you were saying. Definitely toasty bread. Yeah. I like toasty it. Bread and bitter finish, but it's not the same. I didn't think it was that bitter. Well, see, it's not the same bitter as at the end of the more lager of the Pilsner and the Fest beer, and I think it's like, so you're getting the bitterness from the noble hops. What hops are in this? Do you know what I really like? It is definitely bitter, but it's not. It's like you said, it's not like it's so bitter. So this has got Mittelfrau Tettnang in it, so you're not necessarily getting the bitterness from the hops. You're going to get a bit of it from the malts. So it's just a slightly different bitterness, but it's balanced by the sweetness from the darker malts, from the bready, toasty malts. I would argue, so obviously with these ones, we can't really compare them as like a direct comparison because they're not direct comparisons. But what I would say is compared to the first Duration, that's much darker as well. Yeah. I think compared to the first Duration, where we sort of went, this doesn't quite match the style. Yeah. I would say this one matches the style very well. Yeah. As what it's supposed to traditionally be. So I think in terms of craft nailing a traditional German, that they've really done a good job on this one. And it's really, I didn't know what to expect of it, because I don't know if I've ever remember actively choosing to have one. But I'd say that, I'd really like it. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm getting that bready. I'm not going to be sharing that one at all. That's mine. Me. That's definitely all me. That is mine. I like that. Are you ready for the Hefeweisen? Oh yeah, I am. Do you want to hit me with before we go on? Do you want to hit me with a fact? I think I might have run out of facts. Hang on. No, maybe I've got more. I can give you a good fact. Go on then. All right. Did you know that in what year was that? Let me check. After the 2006 Oktoberfest, Paris Hilton was permanently banned from Oktoberfest after her 2006 appearance. What did she do? So before I say why, what I'll say is traditional, when we're talking about traditions, I think everyone kind of knows what a traditional female's outfit is. It's a, what's it called? The dirndl?
Dirndl. Yeah, I was gonna say
dirndl. I didn't know if I said it right. Dirndl.
Lederhosen and dirndls.
Yeah, and everyone knows the men wear the lederhosen and all that. So apparently she went to the event dressed in a golden and shiny Bavarian dirndl to promote a brand of canned wine. Canned wine, something wrong about that. That's a bit weird. Canned wine. Yeah, and then basically the patrons and the organisers thought she cheapened the festival with her outfit, and they basically were so offended by it that they argued that she should be banned from Oktoberfest. So now, since 2006, she's been officially permanently banned from
Don't be upsetting them Germans. You will not be allowed back.
Don't wear the wrong type of outfit. Give it a Google of what she wore as well.
Oh, okay.
It was a bit more like sexualized and all that, right. But I wouldn't say massively so. It was just very, I think flashy? It's because it's very flashy. Right. It was very flashy. Flashy in multiple ways, but very flashy. I think that's maybe why they were like, yeah, it's a bit cheap. Yeah. Or maybe it was the canned wine. I don't know. Could have definitely.
Who brings canned wine to Oktoberfest? That's just
honestly
rude.
And then I also have two really, again, Google's told me these. They may not be true, but I found two very weird traditions, or I guess I don't know what else you'd call them. But one of them apparently is that when you do Prost, which is cheers, with another fellow German at Oktoberfest, you have to make sure that you look them in the eyes, because if you don't look them in the eyes, apparently you're guaranteed bad sex. But not with them, but
just generally in life.
With genuinely in life, you're guaranteed bad sex. And then the other weird tradition they have, which I knew nothing about until I started doing this Google, never even heard it spoken of, was people like to snort white substances, and it's not cocaine. Everyone's like, oh, are they doing cocaine there? No. Drugs are heavily frowned upon in Germany. What it is, it's called Oktoberfest cocaine, and it's either called Weissenkox or Weissenpulver. Don't know if I've butchered the name of that, but it's basically glucose and menthol mixed together, and they sell it in bottles, and it's the locals will go and they'll just be doing lines of this Weissenkox on the tables off each other, like,
wow.
And everyone's like, oh, it's the Oktoberfest cocaine. That's apparently a tradition.
That's a thing.
So
never heard of that.
I'd never heard of it. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting.
So I thought I would share that on with you guys, and the fact that Paris Hilton's banned from Oktoberfest. So.
I'll stick to my Marzen, thanks.
Yeah. Me as well, but in case you're interested, they sell them in bottles, and it doesn't get you high. It's not a drug. It doesn't get you high. There's not, like, literally, they just do it for fun, I guess.
Just sugar and mint, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they're not doing it to get high. They're not doing it for. They're just doing it. I don't know.
Weird.
That's what I thought was really weird. So,
well, enjoy yourselves.
I hope they're true, just because they were so out there that Google's if they're not true, if Google made them up, I'm going to write in a complaint, because it made me smile when I read that. But yes, let's get on to the next one so I can have Deya. I'm excited.
Right, so this is a Hefeweisen, which is another traditional German beer, but this is a wheat beer. It doesn't meet the criteria of the Reinheitsgebot because it's got wheat beer in it. But I believe that they, in Bavaria, they were allowed to create wheat beers because they were a traditional thing. So they were given a prize on that. So they were allowed to create their wheat beers. So because it's a wheat beer, it should be hazy when we open it up. This is from Erdinger.
I'm going to enjoy this, because it's my final one. I'm going to enjoy it in my Stein glass, my baby one, not my big water one.
Yes, there is that. So, and it uses a different type of yeast as well. So it uses.
It wasn't very active, I'll tell you that.
Oh, really? Look at mine.
No, mine wasn't really going crazy or anything.
I've got a massive head. Oh, it's not very hazy. It's not as hazy as I expected it to be.
No, but I mean, I was expecting like the first one when I took the bottle off, and it was going mental.
Oh yeah, no. So mine's got a nice, thick, bubbly, creamy head. So these are traditionally poured into those big vase-shaped glasses because they are shaped. This isn't the right kind of glass, but they curve inward, so they capture this massive head at the top because that's the kind. Right. That's the sort of head that you want on a Weiss beer.
Oh,
so you've got that. So you should have a peppery, possibly banana-y, bubblegummy aromas.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, I don't smell it, and I wouldn't have ever thought that I would have tasted bubblegum. And I think we were just talking about this the other night.
Yeah.
Now that you've said it and it's in my head, I taste it.
Yeah.
I can sort of get it on my tongue.
Yeah.
And the banana quality.
Yeah. So that's banana esters. So esters are fruity. So they're like, you get like banana, pear, green apple, and phenols are the peppery, clovey aromas that you get in a German Weiss beer, German wheat beer.
I would say, so when I was in the US, I drank a lot of Hefeweisens. Like, I absolutely loved it. Did a lot of magic hats and UFOs and all those, and they were probably arguably my favorite style for quite a while when I was in the US.
Yeah.
And I'm very pleased with this one. It's very good.
So an American wheat beer is slightly different from a German wheat beer because they just use lots of hops in it. Pretty much any American version of something just has a lot more hops in it.
Lots of hops. Well, I don't remember them being particularly, like, I remember them being hoppy, but I do remember them also having that wheatiness to them.
Yeah.
Less hops and more wheat, but I would say that, it probably has more hops than what I'm drinking here, but which will make it really interesting having the Deya to see how they do it.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember. So for it to be a wheat beer, it has to have a certain percentage of wheat as the grist, which is the malt that goes into the crushed malt that goes into brewing the beer. Is it 50% or is it more?
When
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Yeah.
It's like a very, you can't really see it, but it's a very like thick.
Yeah.
It's not dissipating, and it's
that
really,
will last.
It looks it's funny because it looks very foamy, almost like when you get it's not the same, but like when you have a roaster coaster and it's got that like nitro foamy creamy head. It's like sort of doing that where it's sticking together. It's very satisfying is what I would say, to watch it just going back and forth.
Just a wheat beer, like a German Weiss beer is just, it's tasty.
I feel like I want to put it in a boot and just just like tops up. Das Boot.
Is that they're not actually called Das Boot? That's that means boat.
That's how much we know.
So everyone says Das Boot, and it's not. That's not the word for. That's not the word in German for boot. That's the word in German for boat.
It's just because we kind of go, let's take something, and then we'll like,
and we'll mess it up, and we'll anglify it and mess it up because we can. Because we're too lazy to learn other languages.
Apparently, I don't even know my own, because you're right. Anglify was probably the word I wanted, and instead I went with English eyes.
Yeah, but you're American, so it's not the same.
No, it's right. I go free pass.
I have. So I have an Anglo-American lifestyle from having lived over there too long.
I've got a American first.
Yeah.
I mean, don't we all? American first, Anglo second.
That is lovely.
I really do like it. It's another what I'm finding with all three of the traditionals is it feels very much, again, to me it's the holiday beers, but I mean not so much the Hefeweisen, but they all very much feel like it's nice sunny day, garden, enjoy, day off work, sit outside, drink these beers type of beers, as opposed to some where you're like, I want to just curl up next to a fireplace with a blanket on or something. This is very much be in the sun and drink these in the sun. All three of the traditionals, I think.
Well, so for the longest time, I was one of those craft beer people that was like, I don't like lager. That's a lie. Do you know what? I was lying every time I said it, because I do like lager. I love a Marzen, and I'd sit there and go, I don't like lager. Oh, I love a Marzen. Oh, I love Oktoberfest. That's a lager.
You just don't like. You don't like.
No, it's that you've got like lager is an overbranching term for beers that are brewed with lager yeast, and it is is to store. It's not like lager beer is lagered. Like, so it's a big fat lie. You just haven't tasted the one that you like. Like, I like a Czech Pilsner. I like I'm not a big fan of a Helles lager.
I like a Helles lager.
Well, see, I find them very hoppy, and so not a hoppy person. But like Box, Doppelbox, Vienna lager. I love a Vienna lager. They're like, but Sam Adams is a Vienna lager. That's what got me into beer. And I'm sitting there going, I don't like lager. Lies. I was a liar.
That's it. I've said, to be fair, hands up, I've said the exact same thing. Yeah. I've said, I don't like lagers, but I think what I was saying was I don't like macro lagers, and I don't like bland lagers, and I don't like plain lagers. Yeah. Like craft lagers, I've said, we spoke the other night, the Helles one by Siren, really liked that. There's been quite a few craft lagers that I've quite liked. And I've always gone, I'm really surprised because I don't normally like lagers. And then when you have enough of them, you start going, why am I surprised anymore? Because obviously, clearly I do like them.
It's not my go-to start. Well, so a pale lager, like a Pilsner or something, wouldn't be my go-to. But if I see a Marzen on the board or a Vienna lager, I'm going to be all over that. And do you know what really opened my eyes to it and made me stop saying I don't drink lager, because it was a lie, was a book by Mark Dredge called A Brief History of Lager. And it's a really interesting book because he goes all through the history of it in Germany, and then how it has expanded out into the world, and how there's American lagers, and there's Japanese lagers, and there's New Zealand lagers, and how it's changed depending on where it is in the world. And it's like slightly travel-loggy, talking about where he's been to places and stuff, but it's absolutely brilliant. Like, if you really want to dig into what a lager actually is, and that, because it's an umbrella term over so many different styles, have a read of A Brief History of Lager, because it's an absolutely brilliant book. And it really opens up my eyes.
I like travel as well, so to me,
really good book. Read it. Get it.
I don't mind if it's like very travel-loggy, because I like that, and I find when I go on holiday, I do go and where can I go and have a nice like local craft beer, or what's the beer options when I go on holiday. I don't just want to drink whatever's the house. Not that it's anything wrong with that, but you don't just want to go like, I'll have a Foster's, please. Like everywhere you go on holiday. Like, no, I'd rather hunt down something a bit more interesting and local, and support that local brewery of where I'm traveling. So that sounds quite up my alley. Maybe I'll check that one out.
Yeah, check it out. It's a really good book. I had it on audiobook and it was brilliant. A brilliant listen. Loved it. So go get yourself a good beer book, people. Right, are we breaking into the Deya?
Yeah. And then I'll hit you. Well, do you want my fun fact first, or do you want the beer first?
Let's do that. Right. Let's do that first. Fun fact first.
I'm going to give you my fun fact.
Yeah.
So, according to Google, around 600 to 800 people per year at Oktoberfest suffer from alcohol poisoning.
Are we surprised when you've got double that amount of beer each time you have one?
We're not surprised. But what was surprising was last year, Adidas released limited edition vomit-proof trainers, obviously for obvious reasons why they would have done that. And they had Prost stitched into the side. And do you want to have a guess at how much they cost?
Like
in euros.
Like €1 million. No, they wouldn't have been that expensive, like €1,000.
No, they would cost just under €200. Oh. And that was the beginning of last year. And they sold out like so quick like that. And I found that whether or not they were actually vomit-proof, I don't know. But it made
Can you tell I don't buy trainers? I'm like, I don't know how much a pair of trainers cost. €1 million. €1 million.
I've got lots of Vans, and I feel like my Vans just last me for so long. I haven't bought a new pair in ages. But it does make me laugh that it's like so many people get alcohol poisoning. We're not quite shocked about that, but they recognise that that's the problem, and they go, what do we need?
Vomit-proof trainers.
So well done, Adidas. You've done it. You'd call it Adidas, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I call it Adidas.
It's Adidas. It's fine. Don't
worry. Whatever. I'm opening the Deya.
Let's do this.
So I think I told you. Oh, that had a good pop.
I liked that. Oh, it's got this.
It's got the lid has got one of those like plastic.
It's like a plastic
bits, like corky bits that goes inside.
I'll translate it for us laymen. What it is it looks like when you have a seat and your chair has on the chair leg, you want to stop it from scraping on a floor. And it's a little plastic cap bit that goes on the bottom of your chair so you don't scratch your flooring. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. And the technical term is doodad.
It's got a doodad in it.
Got a doodad. I'm going to have that in my duration glass. Unfortunately, I didn't have my duration in the duration glass, but...
Oh, I just got the head on my nose. It's got a very creamy head that I just got on my nose while I was trying to smell it.
It does have a very creamy head.
It's got that real peppery aroma.
Yeah, it does. It's very, for lack of a better term, I'll say bold. It's a very.
So the original is more banana-y.
Yeah.
And
this has more lemon to it, I think.
Yeah, this is a bit more citrusy.
Citrus. Still that very, it's light, but still quite, you can't really see it on camera very well. It looks a bit darker, but it's relatively light, but there's so much haze to it that I think it makes it look darker than it is.
Mine's not that hazy.
Oh, mine looks quite hazy.
Oh yeah, yours does. Mine's quite lemony yellow.
Mine's lemony yellow, but with all the haze, it makes it look a lot darker.
I can see my hand through it.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh.
I can't on mine.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I liked the pop that it had. That was very satisfying.
She's got some real peppery, clovey phenols. I think I'm getting a bit of pear in this one more than banana.
I just took a sip. It's very smooth. It has the banana-y taste to it, not so much the smell.
It's very sweet.
Mm.
But
I was going to say it has... It's obviously wheaty, but I'd say the sweetness, the way I describe the sweetness would be the same way that I would say like when something's malty, it has that malty sweetness.
Yeah.
I think it's that similar type of sweetness. And I don't really know what you'd call that other than just sweet.
Yeah. Malt sweetness. Does it say what's in it? Right. Guten Morgen Pet is a German style Hefeweisen with a twist. Here we go.
Oh, there's always a
brewed
twist.
Using traditional German yeast with our own house strain, throwing some banging zesty hops in. There you go.
I knew it was going to be hoppy. It's Deya.
And some spicy bottle conditioning. This bad boy will have you dreaming of those Berlin summer nights. There you go. So that's where the citrusiness is coming from.
What's the ABV on this?
It is...
Oh, it does say Prost really tiny on it. Don't know if you can see that, but
yeah, it does.
Prost. The label, in case anybody wants to see it, you're on video. If you're not on video, look it up. I quite like it. It's got the little alligator guy. Is he a crocodile? Is he an alligator? I'm not sure. And it looks more traditional in art style, but with the modern day twist to it. And I quite like it. It's a heavy bottle.
Yeah, it's 5.2%. So
it's got the indent. It's got the indent on the bottom. What's funny is it for that ABV percentage, I think it tastes stronger than that.
Yeah.
And I very rarely say something tastes stronger than it is. I usually say it hides its ABV quite well or it tastes as it should. I think this actually tastes stronger than I expect it to.
Yeah, it's fruity. I think it's more pear drop than banana.
See, I got banana, but then I think maybe that's because
there's a bit of banana.
Expected. It's very heavy. It's creamy, very creamy, and I would say very like mouthfeel-wise quite thick. And I'd say it's heavier than that Hefeweizen that we just had.
It's heavier. It's the heaviest of the evening, I think.
It's very filling. I would say it feels filling.
See, I think the Erdinger is a bit more malty. I think it's got some toasty notes in the back.
There's more carbonation to that as well. It's more carbonation. This is creamier and I think just fuller. That one tastes a bit lighter and more carbonated.
Interesting. Not a bad one thing. Do you know what? I think this is only my second ever Deya.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Welcome. Welcome. I know you don't really do hops.
I don't do hop. I don't do hype. Soz.
You don't do juice.
No, don't do juice. I like a Napa. Like I like a New England. but I'm not
that's
like, I don't seek out. It's different, isn't it? I don't do the really hoppy nonsense.
Sidetracking from Oktoberfest, when it comes to Deya, keeping it on Deya, did you ever try the break me into bigger pieces, which was their lemon and lime one?
The only one I've ever had was one that they did with Finback, because someone gave it to me.
I think you should try the break me into bigger pieces, because it's not particularly hoppy from the 2 times I've had it. The first time it was like a really nice balance of lemon and lime zest, and it was very strong, very, very summery, very lovely. It will probably come out again next summer.
Yeah.
The second batch that I had, the lime was quite strong, so I didn't like it. I didn't like it as much as I liked the lemon and lime balance, but it was like almost cocktail, like mojito-y cocktail.
Ooh, that's up my street. I wanted to try
beer cocktails.
Tempted.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, we might do an episode on beer cocktails soon, if my kit ever turns up, because it hasn't arrived yet. I ordered it last week. No. First one got broken by the delivery drivers, so I'm waiting on the second one. Typical. Mate. I mean, I've been really good with deliveries, actually. Over lockdown, I've had a lot of deliveries. I'm sure our listeners can relate to having lots of deliveries over lockdown. And I've been quite lucky in that all of my deliveries have been all right. I think this is the first time I've had something broken, but they just didn't deliver it, and they told they told the people, and I got an email saying, we're sending you out another one because it was broken.
Harsh.
Still not arrived yet though. It's all right. I don't need it till Halloween. There's a cocktail making class that it goes with on Halloween. So
spoopy.
Sorry guys, this is real ale that I'm talking about here. It's from Witchwood. Not craft.
No one has to know yet. No one has to know yet. It's fine. Until you get it.
Keep that to ourselves.
Have you ever gone to any Oktoberfest? Because I guess that's kind of, we're enjoying this last one. Have you ever gone to any Oktoberfest?
I didn't really talk about my t-shirt. So
yes, give us the backstory.
So my t-shirt is from the Frog and Onion Brew pub in Bermuda. Not somewhere that you would probably expect there to be an Oktoberfest, but when I was on cruise ships, I did a couple of seasons in Bermuda, and where the ship would dock, because Bermuda port is quite expensive, so they tend to dock and stay for 3 days and then leave in a more remote place, and then everybody there's a ferry that goes into the mainland. But there was this brew pub in the port called the Frog and Onion, and they had dockyard brewing on site. And they made delicious beers. They made a really lovely wheat beer and actually a really nice lager, says the girl.
We don't like lagers, so it doesn't matter.
Saying the girl that didn't drink lagers, like really nice lager. And my last time there, they had an Oktoberfest, and they had the tents out. They had the steins, everything. They made a beautiful Marzen. It was brilliant. And I got this t-shirt from there. The only other Oktoberfest I've been to was at Canterbury Rugby Club, and it was a bit more. It was just a bit more Camera Beer
English?
Festival. Yeah,
a bit more
than
English.
Actual Oktoberfest. It was basically an excuse to have a beer festival. It didn't really have necessarily Oktoberfest themed beers.
Fair. I think you missed out.
Beers. Yeah, I think I need to do like a proper type of Oktoberfest, really.
You missed out. So my husband, he's a September baby, so they always tend to have Oktoberfest events on for his birthday, and I think it was maybe his 29th birthday, maybe it was his 31st birthday, whichever one. We decided, well, we want to get everyone together. What's the best way to do it? Oh, it's an Oktoberfest event. That would be a good excuse. We lived in Reading at the time, so we could just kind of walk there. Maybe we didn't. We took an Uber. Either way, we went into the one in Reading because it was the closest one to us, and they had all the tent. They had the big tent set up. They had pretzels. They had sausages. All the stuff that I said at the beginning that you expect to have. And you got these massive. That's where I've got this Bad Larry from. This big plastic beer stein. So that's this one. No, that's where I got this one from.
Yeah.
And basically all we did was there's lots of loud music, oompa music playing.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of get some so I could play it. I'll have to play it at the end.
Can we replace our one-off intro with some oompa music? Yeah. That would be quite good. But I mean, I think the traditional music style, it's oompa, and then they do polka music, and then there's lots of yodeling. So there was no yodeling at this event. It was all oompa and polka. And we got on tables and we were like prosting, and they let you stand on the benches, and it gets really like everyone's just drunk and singing, and you're cheersing with people you're like, yeah, next table over. This is pre-social distancing.
Yeah, can't do that in a post-COVID world.
And then
don't touch my glass.
Yeah, no, exactly. Don't. Clean it off. Yeah. And then the only other one that I went to was where I got this one from. This place is no longer open anymore, but it was the Bavarian Fest beer. I think it's called Bavarian Beer House. That's what it was in Bristol. And our friend has a September birthday as well, and he lives in Bristol. So one year we all went to go see him, and he thought, we'll go to this Oktoberfest themed restaurant. It's a whole restaurant that is themed in Oktoberfest.
So there's Beer Keller, isn't there, which is a place, that's a chain. I think there's one in Maidstone.
This one I don't think was the chain.
It's not a Beer Keller.
It was literally called Bavarian Beer House. It's closed now, unfortunately. But it was brilliant because they had a yodeling competition. We got our friend up on the stage. He competed in a yodel competition. We were standing on tables. We were cheering with everyone. Everyone was just like, the room, even though we were separate benches, the whole room was just like one big party. And then we all had to be like, vote for our friend in the yodeling competition. Like, he broke it down. Like, nice. It was great. It was so good. I think if you've never gone to an Oktoberfest, like a proper Oktoberfest, not a camera.
Not just a beer festival. They're called Oktoberfest.
Don't go to a beer festival called Oktoberfest. Go to an actual, even if it's a British version, go to an Oktoberfest, because not in social distancing times, because it's not going to be as fun. No. But when we all move past this, we can have Oktoberfest again. We have to go. We can do a live recording that one. It's fun. Everyone just gets drunk and makes friends with everyone and cheers with everyone and yodels and listens to polka music. So it's brilliant. Great.
Love it.
Those are my experiences.
Brilliant. I need to have that experience. I'll just have to go to Germany and do it properly.
Oh, that's it. Can we take podcast on tour?
Podcast on the road. Welcome to a women's brew from Germany.
Yeah, you get like lads on tour. We'll be like ladies on tour.
Women on tour. Beer ladies on tour. That's another idea for our t-shirt shop.
Women's on tour. Hashtag if you prefer.
Hashtag women on tour.
Hashtag women's on tour instead of having crispy boys or juice or is it?
What was the other one?
I like beer should taste like beer, not ice cream. Definitely vote for women on tour.
Right, I'm gonna have to put a poll up. I have to put a poll up on the Instagram.
It's brilliant, yeah. But I think it's a really good time, and I think everyone should get a chance to do it once, because it's just a whole friendly, happy atmosphere. Lots of good food and lots of good beers. So
brilliant. Well, I think that's the end of our beer tasting today. If people would like to contact you and talk about crispy boys and ice cream pale ales and pretzels, and want to say they've got some peanut butter pretzels for you, where can they get hold of you?
If anyone wants to let me know about peanut butter pretzels or wants me to pass on their complaints about Google incorrect facts, you can DM me at adventures_in_hoptimism on Instagram, and you could let Joanne know where she can go to a beer festival that is not a camera one. Where can they get in touch with you?
So I am a woman's brew on Instagram and Facebook, and I am also available at my beer school, which is Love Beer Learning. Come find us on Facebook and Instagram at Love Beer Learning. You can also email us, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. We have a website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. And make sure that because we are now officially launched, we are on all of the good podcast stations. Please follow, subscribe, so you get the latest episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, Stitcher, Sound.
The A word. The A word we can't say because you've got one.
Yeah, that. Speak to your smart speaker and say, play me a woman's brew, and we will play because we've tested it and it works.
Yeah.
Leave us, if you've got an iTunes account, please leave us a review on iTunes, because that will get us noticed by other people and we will love you forever. And you can watch the videos of these at the Love Beer Learning YouTube channel. All of these links will be in the show notes, so come and find us, say hello, listen to our nonsense.
And let us know what your Oktoberfest experiences are. Have you gone to any amazing Oktoberfest? What's your favourite Oktoberfest you've gone to? What's your favourite memory from an Oktoberfest? What's your favourite part of Oktoberfest? Let us know about all things Oktoberfest, because we really want to hear about it.
Yeah, we want to hear what you've done.
Yes.
All right.
So with that, let's go take our photos and have some more general chit chat.
That's what we do. We just end up talking for hours afterwards.
Cool. Catch you guys next week.
Cheers.